Good morning. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. So I'm still a little bit sick, okay, so this is not my normal voice, and I had some problems in the flight, so for me it looks like I'm talking inside the box, okay, so I don't know if I'm talking too loud or not. It's a little bit strange. I have some medicine here, but today is not for me, okay? So that bottle over there, it will be for the best question in the end, okay? So if you don't know it, it's a very nice Portuguese wine, and this one, it's a special one. It's one of the ones that received a gold medal, okay? So, but we will talk about that later on. So today we'll talk about IoT, but before talking about IoT, let me talk a little bit about me. Just a quick context, I will not bother you about me, but just to give you some context, so in the last 20 years, I did almost everything in the IT world. I started as a developer, I still am a developer, but then I also moved into technical manager, project manager, test manager, doing everything in teams from 1 to almost 200 persons, okay, and also different business areas, telecom, finance, government, public sectors, all these, but also, let's say, more fancy projects like aerospace, aeronautics, defense, building software for helicopters, for planes, so all of that. Okay, so this, I think it's quite interesting because you can have different views from different business areas. Different business areas will have different contexts, and they will require also let's say, different competencies from testers. Okay, it's a completely different challenge for the testing perspective. And as a test manager, I didn't want to be just, a manager of persons. That for me, it's not a test manager. That's persons manager, people management, area manager, whatever. But it's not a test manager. Sometimes test managers forget that they are testers before being managers. Right? So they should know. They should know about testing. So I did that. I did all the training, all the certifications, and I actually do testing, and I love do testing, okay? I'm passionate about software testing. So I do manual testing, test automation, functional and non-functional tests, like security, performance, mobile testing, field testing, all of that. And lately, I'm also quite honored to be able to share my knowledge, okay, in a conference like this, in meetups all over the place. So for me, it's always a pleasure to be able to share my knowledge. So thank you for giving me this opportunity today. So I cannot talk about myself without talking about my country. Okay, so that small corner over there, Portugal, do you know Portugal? Did you already visit it? Yes? Good, good, good. So you know what is good stuff. And so, for the ones that don't know, you should. Okay, we received the best destination, the best beach destination, best island destination, best cruise port, best river cruise company, and also the best tourist development project. Okay, so lots of different reasons, good reasons to visit us. So you still have opportunity to do that. But besides that, okay, we are also the friendliest country in the world for immigrants. I didn't know that there was a prize like this, but yes, there was, and we were selected. And by the way, we are really, really searching for software testers. So if you are interested, and to come to Portugal, not just for tourists, but also to work, or just to be a tester, just search me in LinkedIn, follow me in LinkedIn, or just try to search for this hashtag, mainly in LinkedIn, but also Twitter, okay? Almost every day we are posting new job offers there. Yes, and you don't need to speak Portuguese, okay? English is okay, and everyone else that I know from the Eastern countries, they learn Portuguese quite fast, okay? So I'm not as smart as that, so I cannot learn Russian or Belarusian or Polish or whatever, or Turkish, okay? So for me, that's just like a machine gun splitting words. So, but today let's talk a little bit about IoT, okay? Just enough talking about Portugal, let's talk about IoT. So, is anyone testing IoT now? No? That's good, because then I can say whatever I want, right? So we are really in the IoT era. So, do you remember when you first started browsing the web? Okay, it was just a single page, right, text-based, and it was produced by humans to humans, right? That was the initial intent. So today it's not like that. It's no longer like that. It evolves. So today we have a huge amount of content that is being created not by humans, but by machines. By machines to humans, by machines to other machines. And this it's really an exciting area. Okay? These are really exciting days to be in the IT world, because everything is changing. It's changing quite fast. And so some years ago, everyone said, oh, we are in the information era, right? We are generating lots and lots of information. Today it's not information, no longer. It's intelligence. So we are transforming all this huge amount of data into something more, into intelligence data that can then be used to improve and to provide additional service. Okay? And all of these using IoT. So this is also, inside this area, this is also an amazing phase. Why? Because we have all these let's say, infrastructure, all these devices. They are quite accessible in our days. So you can have cloud storage, right? When we started some years ago, at least when I started, I couldn't imagine all this amount of storage. You know, a single disk, it was, wow, amazing, right? Now you have whatever you want in the cloud. You have amazing computing power, right? You have more power now in your pocket than I had years ago in my huge computer. And it's quite affordable, quite cheap. And you have all these communications infrastructure, right? Right now you are always on. You have connectivity all over the place. I remember that some years ago in my school, we only had one computer connected to the internet in one room. So it was a bigger room, just one computer on that room in the corner, and that was the only computer connected to the internet, right? And we used that, you know, for what? Hacking, of course. So, and all of this, it's quite cheap in our days. You can buy all these amazing sensors that can fit in a small place like this. You have all this hardware that you can put everywhere, right? And this is quite affordable, quite cheap. So this also brings some new challenge. And it basically sets the ground for all the newcomers that will happen. But also from the political point of view, this is also being pushed further, right? With the smart cities, with smart factories, things like IoT or industrial IoT or Industry 4.0 or whatever they call it in different parts of the world. But this is also being pushed quite heavily. Okay, so this will also push the development of new IoT devices. So cheaper devices that everyone will be able to use, not only in the industry, but also for everything else, for all the other services. So, and of course, energy, utilities, and automotive, they are leading this. They are not the industries with more devices, with more connected devices, but they are for sure pushing the lead on this. Okay, so you can expect some more news with, for example, energy and utilities. You have the smart meters, all these smart devices that will let you know how much energy you are spending in your house. Okay, automotive, well, from smart cars, self-driving, all the infotainments that you have in your cars. That's amazing in our days, right? Some weeks ago, I just parked my car, and I received, in the morning to get the first coffee. So Portuguese people also love coffee. I was still a little bit sleeping, and I received a phone call saying, it's from your car office, for the garage. Do you want to schedule an appointment? I say, what? Oh, you have a warning in your car. I say, what? I just parked it. I'm going to get the coffee. How do you know that I have a warning? Yeah, we just received a warning. I said, no. And the lady said, yes. Come on. I went back to the car. I turned on the car again, and the warning was there. So this is IoT. And of course, some privacy issues with that, but this is IoT nowadays, okay? So the lady knew before that my car was requiring some oil change. So some more numbers. So 29% of global industries, they are already adopting IoT. But the most interesting part is this. So they expect this number to grow quite a lot in the next year. Okay, and we are already seeing that. Everything that we are talking today about IoT is not future, it's already past. Okay, it's changing so fast that it's almost impossible to keep on going with the latest developments. And most of the persons also say that IoT is not just a standalone technology. It's something more. So this leads us to the next question. What is IoT itself? What do you think it is? So I tried to search for several definitions. First one, they say it's network of physical device. With electronics, with software, with sensors, and all of this connected, right? So connected and exchanging data. Another one, global infrastructure that enabling advanced service. Okay, again, with interacting and things. So some things connected, and they will exchange data, and they will provide service based on that. And they also say that identification, data, processing, communication, all of these, of course, it needs to ensure security and privacy. It should, right? But the same definition also tells us that this is like a far-reaching vision. It's not something well-defined. It's more like a vision, something that we want to achieve. We are not there yet today, but we will be soon, okay, quite soon. And of course, this will have impacts, not only technical impacts, technological impacts, but also in the society as we know it today. Okay? All these definitions include things. Okay? What is a thing? I don't know anything more generic than a thing. So, another definition, and this is a big one, but it tries to define a little bit more what could be a thing in Internet of Things. Could be digital machines, could be objects, animals, people. So people can be a thing in the Internet of Things. Okay? Are you using any device, any smart device that is connected? Yes? So you are a thing. Okay? Welcome to the IoT world. So basically, anything, a person, animal, a car, mobile phone can be a thing in the Internet of Things. Okay? Anything that can be assigned to an IP address and anything that has the ability to transfer data. Okay? This is a thing in the Internet of Things. So, but what does it mean for testers? Okay, so for testers, we have a new context. You know that context is quite important in software testing, right? we need to understand our context to adapt to that context, to understand what are the tools, what are the techniques that we should use. And in the IoT, we have this new context with anytime, anything, any place. So this is really a challenge, because you never know what you will face, right? And you can have two different testers working with IoT, doing two completely different things. Because all these new devices, they are completely different. So you can test IoT without even, approaching the same context. So you have all these devices, not only the device that you have in your pocket, but all the other devices to transfer the data, all the sensors. So it's a mass of device. It's a network of device itself. And it will be even worse. It will grow a lot. Okay? So they expect to have more than 20 billion in 2020. Okay? And some say that this number is low. It will be even higher. So this is a huge number. And we also have a new model. So everyone was used, to this 3 layers model that was quite well defined for the web applications. But now we have different layers. Different layers means also different points of failure that we need to address in our strategy, right? Even if with this smaller device, the solutions are much more complex because we have much more points of failure. So smaller solutions, but much more complex. So that's additional challenge also for testers. So what are the main challenges that we have? The first one is user interface. So when we are testing the functional side of the IoT, we need some interface. Right? Some device will provide you a graphical user interface, but how to test it? So the usual tools that we have to test graphical user interface, they will work with web. They will work with a mobile device. If this IoT device provides a similar interface, you are good. But what if they just provide a small LCD? No web. Okay? So you need to find out new ways of testing that, right? And it could be using robots, could be using image capture and then OCR to detect that. Okay? That's what some testers are already doing. The next challenge, it's data. Okay? Not just the data that is being produced, not just the volume of the data, but also the data that is required or that is provided by some of these sensors. Right? So to test it, you need to be able to provide or to mock that data, and later on to handle all the data that this device will generate. Some of these it's easier to mock, like the location and time warp. Okay, do you know this concept, time warp? No? Star Wars, like when you move fast, So, for example, smart meters, okay, IoT. You push some message to the device that is in the user home, right? Some change in the configuration. And at midnight, for example, that device will send you back the reading. Okay? So try to test this. You go to the office, 9, take a coffee first, and then 10, you start working, you start your first test, you send the message, and then at midnight, you will receive the answer. Of course, you cannot stay there, or you shouldn't stay there, waiting for the answer until midnight. So use techniques like time warp. So you try to speed up the clock, and in the next minute, the device believes that it's already midnight, and they send you back the answer. Okay? So these are the type of techniques that we were not used before, but we need to apply now with IoT. And of course, these data analytics tools, they will be quite useful, because all these sensors, they can generate huge amount of data. So we need to use also the data analytics tools as a mean to validate the output. So diversity, that's another challenge. So if you believe it's crazy right now what we have today with the mobile devices, the huge number of mobile devices, yeah, that's nothing. With IoT, it will be much worse, right? And so we need to focus, and we can use techniques like the Pareto chart, the 80-20, to focus our effort, to focus on the most used device, and then run just some sanity tests on the ones that are less used, okay? Protocols, something that we are also not used to test in most of the projects unless you work with a network appliance. And there is no such thing as just one protocol. That will be too easy, right? You have also different sets of protocols. The good thing is that some of these devices, they will provide you what they call like a hub. Okay, and this hub will provide you a REST API. So something that if you are doing web testing, probably you already know, right? REST API, you can send a JSON file or XML file, and most of the tools already support this. So instead of interacting directly with the device, you just interact with a hub that's nothing more than a web server that will reply using a REST protocol. Okay, and then it will use a specific protocol to connect and to interact with the device itself. Okay? And it can also leverage some features like caching. Okay? So it will not talk always with the device. If he already has the information in cache, he will just reply with that. So you also need to be aware of all these challenges when you are testing, right? If you are testing IoT hub that controls the lights, if you turn off the light, the hub will not receive the notification. So if you ask the hub, what is the status of the light? It says, the light is on. And then you see, no, it's not, because I physically turn it off, right? And you need to ask the hub, oh, can you refresh that? Just try to contact the light. And it tries and says, oh, it fails. So it should be off. Yeah. Okay, so you need to be aware of all of these. Again, the good thing is that if you already have API testing knowledge, API testing tools, you can leverage on top of that. Okay, so you can use these tools. And some of these tools, like SOAP UI, for example, they also support all these different protocols. They start to support specific IoT protocols also. So that's also good news. And also some numbers of this. So today, most of the testers, they are already doing API testing. Okay, so IoT, it will just mean one thing. You will do even more IoT API testing. Okay, so if you are not doing this, it could be an interesting area to invest in your competencies. So security, that's a huge thing in IoT. Okay, so as we have all these different layers, as we have all these different devices, all these devices can have different surface to be attacked, right? When you have a web app, you just put a firewall and you think, oh, I'm safe, right? And when you have a fridge, right? When you have a car, when you have all these, the robot that will walk through your home, sucking all the dust. You put a firewall on it, how does it work, right? So this hardware, it's quite optimized. There is no space there to run any extra things like a heavy firewall. So everyone was trying to connect this device, right? It was the same with cars. Everyone was trying to connect the cars. No one was caring about security, right? The challenge was to connect them, was not to make them safe. And then some guys said, oh, the cars are connected, and by the way, I can control it. you know, like a game, and say, oh, so probably we need to have something about security on this, right? Probably plain text protocols is not such a good idea. It looks like a good idea in the beginning, but now probably we need to have some more security measures. So security testing is critical, okay? You cannot skip it. At application, operating system, and also at user level, okay? So application, that's the typical thing, right? Operating system, it's like to keep everything updated. All the patch, all the security patch, they need to be applied, and they need to be continuously updated. But also user level. What does mean user level? So let's see if this works. No? Can you click there?
Curtains, lights, doors. It even unlocks my car. And the only one with access is me.
Yeah. Well, this, I'm not selling this from an insurance company, but I just saw this video. Actually, I saw it in a different conference, and I said, well, I need to use this. It's beautiful. So this is the part of the user security that we need to take care, right? Oliveira yesterday was talking about that, to instruct, to educate the users. It's the same, or even more important, with IoT. Right? Everyone uses a phone. And most of the users, they are not aware of what that implies, of the power that they have in their pocket, right? And it's not just about the phones, it's about everything that we have today connected. So another challenge, performance. Okay, so we have device and we have the expectations. So you expect your device to be always performing well, right? You don't expect your IoT device to reboot, right? You are driving your car in the middle of a highway, you are connected, smart car, and then it says, oh, sorry, we are rebooting. Just wait a little minute, right? It happened already to me. Not funny, okay, not funny. It was just infotainment system, but you don't feel so safe when you are in the highway, a little bit over the speed limit, and your car decides to reboot, right? Could be worse. Could be Windows-based, and you could say, oh, just wait, we are installing a patch. Okay, it was just a reboot. But even so, you are not feeling so safe. So the performance and expectations, right? You go and turn off your lights. Do you expect that to be right away? Or do you expect it to be like, oh, almost there? Wait just a little bit more. Yeah, okay, yeah. Lights are off, right? Again, we are talking about small device with a very specific hardware, limit hardware, okay? But you have huge expectations. Everyone has huge expectations in our days, right? You don't expect less, you expect more, right? So usability, performance testing, they are also quite critical. So we are not just focused on the functional part, but also on non-functional, like security, performance, and user experience. And we need also to be aware that most of these devices, they will be optimized for network traffic, for the amount of computation, for the amount of memory storage and power. Okay? When you are running with your smart bracelet, right? You don't want to have something huge to be able to stand on for 1 week, right? You want something light, something that you'll not even notice that you have it. And if that thing is able to synchronize with your smartwatch, that's what you need, right? If not, then it's not a thing, it's something else, right? It's from the previous century. So dependencies, also quite important. So we have hardware, we have network, we have all the service that will create this massive network of dependencies, and we need to test all of them. So we need to pay additional attention to, I will say, testing activities that were not so common. The failover, the robustness, the isolation, maintenance, interoperability, this big word. So we need to ensure that we also include these types of tests in our strategy. Okay? Maintenance, for example, it's a quite huge one, right? When you are sending all these devices all over the place in the world, they will need to be updated over the air. So you need to ensure that when you are doing that, you are not breaking anything, right? So all of this, it's also a huge challenge for testers. And just to summarize, so IoT will be, for sure, if it's not being already, the next big thing. Okay? From the point of view of the amount of work that it will require, for the point of view of the amount of money that will involve. And this will also increase the scope, the context, the complexity, and will bring us all these different challenges. Okay? So that's not so good, you could say, but we also have good news. So you can leverage your knowledge. If you already have knowledge on software testing, if you already have knowledge on API testing, you can leverage on top of that. So you don't need to start from the beginning. Okay, that's the good news. But of course, you need to adapt to these new platforms. You need to understand the new context, these new layers that you need to handle. And also, technical competencies. So if you are more on the business side, probably you will need also to acquire some more technical competencies. I'm not saying that you need to be a developer, okay? No, that's a different thing. But you need to understand all these technical constraints that should drive your testing strategies. And of course, well, we are talking about things, right, machines most of the time. So test automation is not optional, okay? It's mandatory. And as I said before, this focus on security, user interaction, performance, and hopefully, AI and machine learning will come in to help us to improve a little bit, hopefully. Okay, let's see. So, thank you, obrigado. Спасибо.